paper and didn't memorize it. Fucking sorry. I went, 2 years ago when I was in college, I did study abroad in Japan. And I wrote a blog about it because that's cool to write a blog. So this is an excerpt from my blog that I wrote. I wrote all these things verbatim that Japanese people said to me, and now I realize like I have to read them out loud. So if I read them in like a racist accent, just like don't tell any Asian people. Let's just say, are there any Asian people here? No. All right, then we're good. Also, this story. What? You're not Asian. Also, this story talks about Miley Cyrus. This was Miley Cyrus 2 years ago before she developed twerk fever. So just keep that in mind. So after I had finally made my way to the glorious Yamasa school, one of the customer service girls, Aki, took me to my accommodations, as she so gallantly put it. Before she took me though, she had to hug me and apologize to me numerous times because no one had picked me up at the airport, which is true. I showed up at the airport and no one picked me up and I was lost in Japan. It was great. As did basically everyone else in the customer service department. They caressed me and passionately patted my shoulder. Oh, Maddie-san, we were so worried about you. We thought you'd die, Maddie-san. That would have been a disaster. We feel so bad. Aki looked a little like that girl from Paper Heart who dated Michael Cera, except taller and with slightly more overbite. I felt as if I had known this lass for years. In the car, we jammed out to some weird J-pop. I love this, I screamed over the high-pitched ruckus. This girl that made this song is only 6 years old, Aki cried out with glee. Are there people like that in America? Well, I don't know if there's too many famous 6-year-olds, I told her, but there is Miley Cyrus, who, at the time, was a different Miley Cyrus. Oh! That is the sound that she made with her mouth. Miley Cyrus, I love her, Hannah Montana! I wanted to point out to Aki that she was a grown woman who needed to get her shit together and stop loving Miley Cyrus. This was unacceptable behavior. What the fuck is your game plan, Aki? But I didn't say that because she's awesome, and I will love her forever. Aki took me to my dorm, which was really sunny and pretty and impeccably clean. Your room is a double, but you don't have a roommate. I high-fived her. Yes, thank Jesus. Ha ha ha, Maddie-san, you hate people? Damn straight, Aki. Damn straight. My room is awesome, but I have a traditional Japanese futon bed. I guess the school, like most schools, is cheap as fuck when it comes to bedding, because the futon is incredibly thin, and all we get for pillows is a tiny little sack filled with rice. I haven't read this in a couple years, and I remember my rice pillow. At first I hated this, but now I'm pretty used to it. I cannot imagine what it will be like to have a down pillow again. I'll probably just have to toil in the rice fields and make something more suitable to my taste. I wrote this myself. After a return from my first venture out, upon which I realized groceries are expensive shit here in Japan, the other students were all back from school and hanging out in the kitchen lounge area. It was then that I made my first real friend, Alexandra from California. She started telling me about how Kim Kardashian was engaged, which was the big news from America, and how the yellow hat kids in the street were making fun of her in Japanese. The yellow hat kids are elementary school kids here in Okazaki who are badass little punks. They all wear these yellow hats and travel around in packs, taking up the entire sidewalk and hurling Japanese insults at you. I love them. I love the yellow hat kids. If I could adopt them all, I fucking would. Anyway, Alexandra spoke English, and it was love at first sight because she was the only person there who spoke English. We went upstairs to our hall, and we were greeted by the caretaker, a Chinese woman, and Aki. Aki had brought me a little map to navigate the city, and the caretaker wanted to introduce herself, which didn't go over so well because I couldn't really speak Japanese and she didn't speak English. She did, however, ask, "Were you the girl who was crying in the airport?" I looked at Aki with a deep, overwhelming hurt in my eyes. Words certainly spreads fast around these parts, I see. I thought I could trust you, Aki. I thought I could trust you. Alexandra, Aki, and the caretaker stood around in the hall, being all pally-wallies and speaking in Japanese. I tried to integrate myself by laughing along when they laughed. Ha ha ha, yeah, guys. I totally get that joke. Like, what the fuck is up with giraffes, right? Yeah, I feel ya. Eventually, I realized I still had purple dye in my hair. and then it was slowly seeping into my scalp. I excused myself into my room to put on a towel, which that is what one does when preparing for a shower. When I walked back into the hallway with my shower stuff and towel, all hell broke loose. First, Aki and the caretaker stared, wide-eyed and aghast. Then they laughed for about 20 minutes to half an hour. Aki could hardly breathe. "Maddie-san, naked," she said, covering her eyes. "Oh my God, I thought I must be really obese." Xander explained to me that it was a cultural thing. "Just don't walk around in your towels," she said. They'd never seen a naked white girl before. That was 3.5 weeks ago, and still Aki and the caretaker like to say, "Oh, Maddie-san, you were naked," whenever they see me. However, I should make it clear that I actually was not naked at all. In fact, I was wearing a towel. But apparently, even that much white skin was enough to burn into their Asian memories for a lifetime.